To the show this morning. It is Michelle Bryant here at WNOV 860 AM, 106.5 FM. You are listening to Say Something Real and Real Talk. I think I missed y'all.
Yeah, we certainly missed you, Michelle.
Oh, here we go.
Certainly missed you.
The somber voice of none other than Mr. DeVoe. Hello, sir. How are you?
I am great, Michelle. I wanted to start the morning out.
Oh my God!
Just saying that we certainly missed you, your family here, and co-workers here at 860 WNOV.
I cannot do it.
Missed you and are glad that you're home safely. That traveling grace that we prayed for you all and so forth and so on. Certainly, God took care of things and you're back home. So welcome home. And it's ready to, it's just that time. It's time to get down to work. It's a hard couple of days left for us, so let's ride.
Oh, okay. The sincerity is a lot, so
but it was from my heart.
The way you said heart.
I need to tell you.
The way you said heart is suspect.
But I want to tell you in closing, it was brought to you by A&J Liquor.
Yeah. I want to be clear. Did not sound real. Mr. Rideout. Hey, Alex. Good morning. Good morning. What's happening, Mr. Rideout?
Well, always good spot. You know what, Michelle? Respectfully, Michelle. I thought about you.
I just can't come in. I got to go through. Hey, Shelby. Good morning, sis. Hey, Dion, I know you go check in. Really, this what we doing?
Respectfully, Michelle.
Respectfully, what is it, JT Jr.? What is it?
I just, music makes me cry, and I just miss you so much.
I miss you, Ralph, at all.
I just want to let you know that we miss you. We want to welcome you back.
Thank you, Mr. Transman.
Oh, Lord. Welcome back. Thank you, Jesus. Woo. I was brought to you by A&J Liquor.
No,
who you missing?
Thank you, Jesus.
Oh, yeah, Jesus in that too.
Brought to you by A&J Liquor. Can you say those two things in the same sentence?
Because Jesus knows the heart of the sinner. Amen.
Jesus even gave out a little wine.
I ain't in that one, Debo.
You know what? I know there are pastors right now looking sideways
at
both of you. Oh my God.
Michelle, didn't Jesus turn water into wine when they had run out of wine?
Hey, Debo, when did you become a minister?
Right a long time. Keith did.
So y'all got y'all saying.
Not questioning licenses.
So y'all got y'all saying license.
We doing license checks up in here.
I'm not questioning
pastoral check. Because it is some fake pastors.
Fruit rings, huh?
I want to be clear.
They ain't even Fruit Loops, they fruit rings.
You hear they service, you be like,
yeah.
You didn't go to school.
You cheated on your test.
Your wife took your exam.
It's some women that are colder than their husbands when it comes down to expounding that word. You know what I'm talking about? I done seen some that tune up better than some of these men.
Tune up.
Jermaine know what I'm talking about. Yeah. When they tune up.
Yeah.
Tune up.
Yeah.
They got a different word they call it. The preachers call it what they call it, Jermaine?
Tuning up.
Yeah, we're tuning up, but there's another word they use.
Hooping.
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 Yeah.
Okay. Well, it sounds like some folks are not regular churchgoers.
Wouldn't know that, would they, Michelle? Hooping, you like, y'all play basketball in that church?
Oh, that's what we doing? You gonna come for me in such a manner?
No, you said.
It's all right. It's all right. Hey, Ladette, good morning, sis. Thank you for the welcome back. Somebody else said Mr. Cartier is in the building.
And I since they was talking about me, I figured I might as well finish snitching. They was talking about you, Michelle.
Yeah, because I was gonna make my way. Right, I was gonna make my way around.
They was talking about you,
because I'm telling you, I got text messages. They was like, "Are you listening?"
Mm-hmm. If they told you right, I was not.
You do? Oh no, they said all three.
Well,
all three.
Well,
I got several of those that said all three.
I said to them
before
you called, I said, Y'all know Michelle listening. I know her phone is dinging right now. Ping, ping, ping.
Well,
all three.
I turned state, so I was offered a plea deal. So I'm telling,
dude caught immunity.
I'm
Because
telling.
I did come in ready this morning.
Yeah,
You know, but then I heard that potentially the judge is going to be on the show at 8:00, and so I don't know if it's in studio or not. So I thought I might not commit any crimes. While we got a judge coming through, none other than Judge Susan Crawford. We are in the final stretch of the election. Everybody is watching. This election is garnering national attention, and so we got to talk about that this morning. But first of all, let me just take a moment to say how much I appreciate my colleagues. Thank you, bros, so much for holding me down while we was out here with these kids, man. Jesus Christ. On the HBCU college tour that Dr. Lakeisha Myers through her EdgeStar Consulting. And I, support the efforts. So let me just say I appreciate Keith did double duty, you bros. I heard that the shows were great and informative. Kwaku did his thing. So I just want to tell you how much I appreciate it, and to the station for the flexibility to be able to dip out for an entire week to make sure that young people
we're gonna meet about that a little later.
Let's do it then, bro. Bring that. Bring that. Bring all that. And I'm gonna just say this: we did, I think it was 10 schools, 11 schools over the course of 5 days, and had about 10 children with us, 10 young people with us, 5 boys, 5 girls. None of the kids were from Milwaukee public schools. They were all from neighboring and surrounding suburban and private schools that went on the trip. So that, was a little, last time we did it, we had a lot of MPS kids. And any opportunity, because you can tell, like a lot of these kids, they are from families that are well situated and are going to be able to help support and provide opportunities to their children. So just wanted to first of all acknowledge the folks that helped make it possible. And then there were organizations that also help support these young people being able to be out there. The one thing I will just quickly say, because I did call in and kind of give some updates, but the one thing I'll quickly say that stood out, and I now understand that there's an article about it recently in the New York Times, is that every campus that we went to, there was not more than a 30% male enrollment at these HBCUs. And in some cases, it was 20 to 25% male enrollment. And of that 20 to 25%, 18% was the enrollment for actual Black males. Many of the HBCUs have students that are not African American that attend the university. And every campus from Howard to Hampton and all the schools in between, one of the things that they did when they were talking to students, they referenced the fact that bros is missing on the yard. Most of these campuses are 60, 70% women. And it almost was a selling point for some of the recruiters and admissions officers that we were talking to, as they looked at the fact that we had these 5 young brothers on the tour, to say, hey, you come down here, basically you surrounded by women, 70%. So that was one thing that stood out. That was extremely unsettling and frustrating for me. The other thing, I will just, and I picked up the lit for one of the schools. I actually had Howard's too, but just to tell people a couple of quick things. Number one, if you still have a child, grandchild, any young person that you are invested in and making sure that they are getting ready to go to college, please get your financial houses in order. Please make sure that these students understand exactly what you can and cannot afford. I thought about when I did undergrad, my undergraduate degree was about $64,000. When I looked at and that's everything, room, board, meals, books, tuition, that's about that ballpark. Today, it is running anywhere from 160 to 220, $30,000 to be able to put a child through a university. Howard University, when we sat in that parent information meeting, $59,000 a year. $59,000 a year to go to Howard. And the number of kids who want to go to Howard, is so many young people. And I understand why. When we were down at Hampton, Hampton is about $47,000 a year. And one thing that I appreciated at some of the colleges that or one of the colleges that we attended, they have an HBCU initiative, which says that if there is no HBCU located in the state that you live in, you go to their school for in-state tuition, not out-of-state tuition. So that was creative. Many schools offered scholarships for children that had solid GPAs. So if your baby was rocking a 3.4, 3.6, 3.8, 3.9, these kids had opportunities at additional scholarship dollars offered directly from the university. In some cases, a 4.0, $14,000 towards your tuition, which is huge and significant. A lot of the schools also were test optional in terms of ACT, SAT scores. But many of the schools that we talked to, on average, SATs were running between 22 and up. ACTs between 22 and up. But like Hampton, theirs was a average academic profile for a freshman was an ACT score of 24. SATs 12, 26 and up is what we were seeing a lot of. And in terms of money and scholarship dollars, even though some of these schools were test optional, in order to qualify for those scholarship dollars, they needed to have taken that ACT and SAT. The young people that we had with us on that tour, Jay, look up. The young people that we had with us on that tour, many of them were averaging 22 to 26 on their on their ACTs. One young man, he was still waiting on his scores to come back. So I just want to make sure that people understand that you know what it is. Don't take your child to Howard tomorrow we visiting and you don't know how you're going to be able to cover that $59,000 a year. There are ways to get it done, but you got to start talking to these young people as early as middle school about working on a GPA that can help them fulfill their dreams. When we were there at Hampton University, our tour guide was a young brother from Madison, Wisconsin. He actually had gone to the school that Dr. Myers had been an assistant principal at in Madison, Wisconsin. He was our tour guide. At another campus, we met a young sister from Beloit, Wisconsin. She came up. We ended up knowing some of the same people. So, our children are out there, but this stuff is not cheap. The other thing I would just quickly say is until you visit some of these campuses, you don't always have an appreciation for what's happening and what's going on. But when I tell you, because I had never been to Hampton's campus, this was my first time, blown away. Absolutely blown away. Oh my God. Their student caf overlooking the water and their Legacy Park, just one of the most beautiful campuses. And I love big campuses. I'm I don't want to do 250 in a lecture hall. I'm not 40,000 big, but I like a nice size campus and a nice size student body. And Hampton University blew me away. I was like, damn, if I had this to do. And I was thinking about all the schools I selected. While Alabama State is the family school and probably out of homage, I would have went there. But Hampton is in the top 2 for me. Loved Howard. Howard is big city living though. The way you move around. So I just want to say that about those tours. Please, please, please stay on your school's advisors. Look for scholarship dollars. I'm going to do a better job of making sure that parents are aware of dollars that are important and how to find that money. But just be clear. Somebody asked about the 1890 scholarship. It is still available right now. We don't know for how much longer, though. That was one of the conversations that we had. The other thing I'll just quickly say too, and this will feed into some other conversation this morning, is the impact of Donald Trump's administration on these college campuses. Because many of the companies at one school, I can't remember which school it was, but they it was in Maryland, but that school had a relationship, let's just say, with Apple, that every student, incoming freshman, they received a Mac computer as a part of enrollment there. They got them for free. That partnership has been in place for years. That partnership is now gone because of Donald Trump's attacks on diversity, equity, and inclusion for the bros and the sisters who support Donald Trump. That program is gone. And campus after campus, we heard about corporate sponsorships that had either ceased to exist, that were in jeopardy, or that were reducing funding because they were all scared of and worried about Donald Trump's initiatives on these campuses. So I need people to understand, when you got these black men in particular sitting up talking this BS about support Trump, support the Trump agenda, get on the train with Republicans. Republicans are going on an all-out attack on black folks, on institutions that serve young black people. And when I say a level of it was sickening as I was hearing this, because it was some of the things that I've been talking about on our show and saying to all of these organizations that have received philanthropic support, corporate support. A lot of these agencies are falling back. And I heard that people have begun to tell me when I've seen them out. Yeah, Michelle, what you was talking about? Yeah, we just had 2 more grants that, we are now, being told we're not going to be able to be in the loop for. So let me take a quick break. But when I come back, just a couple of quick things still about the trip. Toured the U.S. Capitol. The kids were, in awe at some of the stuff that they saw inside the U.S. Capitol. Went to Ben's Chili Bowl, did the stairs. One of our young men, CJ, actually ran the stairs, did the whole Rocky reenactment. We had another young man that was following behind him, videotaping it because his grandma wanted that done. Reached the top and everybody lost their mind, did the whole pose and everything. It was really cool. And we went to the Smithsonian, to the African American History Museum. Let me take a second, take that break. I'll talk about it on the other side. Be right back.
Donald Trump is out of control, stopping payments for healthcare and food for hungry kids, eliminating the Department of Education, and letting Elon Musk access your most private information. Now Trump and Musk are backing Brad Schimmel because they know he'll let them do whatever they want. Not Judge Susan Crawford. She'll be the check and balance we need to protect us from Trump when he goes too far. That's why we need Judge Susan Crawford on the
All right, family, welcome back to the show. So, taking a few minutes just to break down the HBCU college tour that I had the fortune to do with Representative or former Representative Dr. Lakeisha Myers. And before I went to break, I was giving the examples about how the Republican agenda, Donald Trump specifically, and all of the stooges around him that are supporting the attacks on diversity, equity, inclusion, how this is showing up on Black college campuses. One of the schools that I was at, they had a partnership with NASA that they have had for years. They are producing some of the country's brightest engineers on one of these HBCU campuses, and actually had a non-working, they had disabled it, missile in one of the college campuses on their campus that we could see to symbolize that relationship. And I was asking how are things going, and they said that relationship is in jeopardy as well, because any of the programs that specifically target communities of color, Black folks in particular, the government is cracking down and coming after these programs. So I said that we also went to the Smithsonian um, Museum of African American History. And so, first of all, it was a busy day because we went the last day, that Friday, and there are kids walking around. And I noticed these young white kids walking around with Make America Great hats on, Trump skull caps. And, and I'm looking at their teacher like, so y'all thought this was okay? In the Black History Museum, that you got all these little white kids with political hats on right now. Because that's a political statement. It was done intentionally and by design. Mm-hmm. They parents knew, because they had to sign the field trip permission slip, that they was coming to the African American History Museum. The teachers, everybody knew. So you allow, and I'm gonna tell you, I had to give big ups to a lot of the Black kids that was watching these, because the white kids wanted a reaction. Mm-hmm. They wanted somebody to say something. And one of the kids that wasn't from our group was like, some of y'all gonna get what y'all asking for, because you want to be punched in your face right now. And I watched this little boy self-talk himself. He was like, but see, that's what you hoping for. So then we can have a problem. And so the kids just like, they turned and they looked away. Some kids looked at him dead on, straight in the face, steely eyed, like, yeah, we see you, but we're not going to give you the satisfaction of any response whatsoever. So that part was interesting. But as we are doing this tour, and I mean people from all walks of life, all races, all nationalities, ethnicities, religions were in the building touring and learning about this Black history. Donald Trump is signing an executive order that he says is going to root out, quote, wokeness in the Smithsonian's museums. So the Smithsonian has, I think, about 21 museums that fall under their purview. Okay. And he literally, and I'm thinking about this as we walking through the museum, that he wants the removal of improper, divisive, or anti-American rhetoric taken out of the museum. And so, there are historians who are like, wait a minute, y'all better be paying attention to what this man is trying to do. Because think about the Smithsonian Museum of African American History. You're going to talk about slavery. You're going to talk about white oppression. You're going to talk about these people in housing discrimination, public transportation discrimination, education discrimination, voting discrimination, any way in which you could discriminate against Black people. White folks have done it in this country, not all, but way too many, for a whole bunch of years. And so if I can't tell that story, what am I doing as a part of the African American experience at the Smithsonian? These museums receive about 60% of their funding from the federal government. And so you have the federal government stepping in and using the leverage and power that they have financially to make these people be complicit. So understand me. Trump has always been janky when it comes to Black folks and Black history. When the museum opened, Trump visited the museum in 2000. Well, after it opened, he visited the museum in 2017 because there was a It was something going on. Oh, and so he went to the museum and he looked at this exhibit on the global slave trade, which talked about the Dutch role in the southern, I mean, in the global slave trade. Donald Trump looked at that exhibit and he said in front of all these black folks, quote, "You know, they love me in the Netherlands." This is what Lonnie Bunch, the founding director of the museum's founding director, said. That he literally, you see global slave trade, and your comment, your takeaway is, oh, you know, they love me in the Netherlands. Mike Pence, because they talked about he didn't pay any attention to the Smithsonian in terms of the Black History Museum, because Mike Pence visits in 2019 when they're going to unveil Neil Armstrong's spacesuit at the Air and Space Museum, and then so he took part of that, but they never mess with the museum. Didn't care about it, could care less. Now it's all about revisionist history, what we need to do to stop people from attacking white people and telling the truth about what happened in this country. And, if this divides Americans, no, what divides Americans is the continued effort to lie about what went on in this country. And people who still to this day have not made it right. There have been piecemeal efforts and attempts in terms of, education, admission to schools, but you have whole institutions that were built up on the backs of black folks and slavery. The very house that he is sitting in and writing these executive orders were built by black hands. The very layout of Washington, D.C., while the designer and the architect or whoever that they brought in, city planner that they brought in, who was a foreigner to create this, he gets into it with somebody, uproar, he leaves, and it is a black enslaved individual who remembers the complete layout for Washington, D.C. And they are able to use this brother to be able to complete what was planned. So you anti-American if you tell the truth about America, because it's way too many white people that's too thin-skinned to hear the truth. Hundreds of years later, you still can't reconcile and wrap your mind around the truth. I gotta take a break, but y'all, we have to pay attention, because it is happening on the basis of gender. It is happening on the basis of religion. Sexual orientation, we already knew. But these Republican people are coming after black folks. They do not want to admit that we were mistreated and enslaved in this country, and that many of them have institutional wealth off the backs of stolen labor and stolen people. Black men that's Republicans that's running around telling everybody to support to support Republicans. But here they are trying to strip away everything we know about us. I gotta take a break. I'll be right back.
WNOV.
All right, family, welcome back. I was taking a minute to talk about what was going on in relationship to an executive order that Donald Trump has put out, saying that all of the 21 museums in the Smithsonian Smithsonian's lineup of Polk museums needs to conform to his version of American history and his donors and his supporters. One of the things that a professor at Yale said is that what's most appalling about this is the arrogance, or worse, the audacity to assume that the executive branch of government, the presidency, can simply dictate to American historians writ large the nature of doing history and its content. I take it as an insult and an affront and an attempt to control what we do as historians. On the one hand, this is kind of an executive order is so absurd that a lot of people in my field laugh at it. It's laughable. It's a laughable thing until you realize what their intent actually is, and what they're doing is trying to first erode and then obliterate what we've been writing for a century. And whether you think about what he's doing at the Kennedy Center, or many of our other institutions, PBS has been threatened to, if they would have their funding cut, if they didn't move away from programming that the White House didn't agree with. Universities, another CEO of a university just resigned because her university is now buckling to Donald Trump. Michigan State University, who had all of these minority initiatives and programs trying to increase and help Black representation on campus, programs canceled, grant dollars canceled. We have been seeing it everywhere, all over the place. Thank you. Our resident teacher is listening in. Talking about Benjamin Banneker, that he was the one that surveyed DC in terms of the layout for the design of the United States hub of politics as we see it today. So, I said it though. I've been talking about it here at the station, that many of our local organizations right here in this community are going to be impacted by Republicans and their efforts to destroy diversity, equity, and inclusion, and thereby, whether people want to admit it or not, destroy the history and legacy and hard work and contributions of people of color, and to impact future opportunities. Because this BS about, there should be no considerations for race, when race was the very thing that was considered to keep us out of education, to keep us out of universities, to keep us out of good employment, good jobs, good wages, employment, to keep us out of the trades, to keep us out. And people are like, yeah, but a lot of that's changing. It's been changing in the last 50 years. But you did 400 damn years worth of damage. You gave yourself a 300 plus year head start on tearing up Black folks and Black lives and keeping them poor and impoverished, same thing, and undereducated or uneducated. And in 50 years, now it's too damn much. I can't listen to this anymore. Oh my God, you're making my children feel bad because I have to answer questions about why our ancestors were so damn ignorant. I got to answer questions about why, for no other reason than the color of your skin, you could be lynched. I want to tell those truths. So for all you Negroes that went in and pulled that lever for Donald Trump, I hope you hear me right now. I hope you hear me right now, because I saw it in real time on this trip. And there were several times I had to turn away from our students because I had tears in my eyes. Because I realized what they're doing to us. And then you got Black men that had the audacity to come into this radio station and sit and call into the station and talk about why you need to get on the Republican train. But don't none of them Negroes speak up when you see what's happening to us. Don't none of them Negroes talk and say this is wrong.
Yeah.
And to understand that our children don't even have a clue what's waiting on them. The opportunities that were available to their parents are being stripped away every day. Every day. So, as we think about these upcoming elections, and you got people trying to convince you and tell you all them damn black men and that one black woman whose face was on that literature to support Brittany Kinzer, who had the nerve to send out a document telling people she's a Democrat. But I ain't never seen her at no Democratic functions. I ain't never known her to be a member of the Democratic Party. I wonder if she's ever given money to a Democratic candidate who's run for office. I don't know. But when you got that many Republicans lining up behind you, chick, it's something wrong. Jill Underly, not perfect. Could do way better. But when you got this many Republicans at a time when they are talking about dismantling the Department of Education or definitely gutting it financially, and we're going to turn it back over to the states, and you got all these Republicans rallying around Brittany Kinzer, and you have the nerve to have black men's faces on there, many of them for no other reason than your choice school, some of which are freaking failing. Your money for your school, whether it's your church school, your personal school, I've already said that horse has left the barn. Choice is a reality in this state. I believe in funding it and funding it appropriately, while it is the law of the state. But what I'm not going to do is hurt all the other school kids in this city and in this state because it's a couple of damn people who got choice schools who trying to protect their individual school and damn the rest of the kids. That's what I'm not going to do. So we're going to protect Holy Redeemer. We're going to protect Christ the King School. We're going to protect the Howard Fuller School, but damn all the other children. And you got all these black men sitting on here with their faces on there. And I want to be able to ask any of them, what the hell did you know about Brittany Kinzer before this race started? What kids, black children in particular, has Brittany Kinzer showed up for? Negroes need to be shamed. I'll be right back.
Say something real with your host.
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. In a couple
WNOV.
minutes, I'm going to switch. We should be getting a phone call from Judge Susan Crawford, who is running for the Wisconsin State Supreme Court. As you now know, early voting is over. I will go in and pull those numbers so we can talk about it. Also, understanding that you do not vote at the early voting locations tomorrow. You vote at your regular polling location. If you don't know what that is, go to what is it? WI. Look, now I got to remember. Oh, here we go. myvote.wi.gov. Couldn't get it out to save my life. And there you will see a sample ballot. What's on the ballot? Where do you vote? All that information is there. So please, 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 if you have not voted, go vote tomorrow. If you have voted, check and make sure other family members have voted, because we know that right now there's all efforts underway to be able to get Brad Schimmel, who is a, as far as I'm concerned, activist individual when it comes to Republican politics in roles that are supposed to be nonpartisan. And we need to understand the influence. I'm sorry, I'm doing two things at one time, but we need to understand the influence of Donald Trump. Now, we heard commercials here at our station using his voice. Elon Musk coming into the state, giving away $2 million yesterday, or this weekend, I should say, to two individuals. At first, I'm giving everybody $100. You get $100. You get $100. If you sign a quote petition about activist judges, you get $100. Then legal, or somebody must have gotten his ear. He backs up off of that. We're going to do a random drawing of two people who signed the petition, and they'll each get $1 million each. So you understand that the role that money has played in this campaign, and how it certainly has the ability to sway what's happening. I had a phone call last night from an attorney who lives out of state, or I should say a text message from an attorney who lives out of state. And he said, hey, my mom wants to know who to vote for in the Supreme Court race, and what other races are on the ballot that she needs to be paying attention to. This is a fairly informed family. So when I got that text message, the hairs on the back of my neck stood up, because that means that even though this was one person, but I want to be clear, I've answered this question while I was away. People were texting me, we going to early vote. We need to understand what we should be paying attention to, or people outright asking, who do I need to vote for? Okay. So even though we got all this money in the race, there's a part of the electorate that's in Wisconsin that's still not being reached. People don't know. And then when you get misleading information about who's a Democrat, who's not a Democrat, you got all these black men faces in the one sister, vote this way. And it's just like, what do I do? And so I'm asking you all, because if you're listening to this show, that means that you are informed. You want to be informed. You have a little bit more information than the average individual loosely paying attention or not paying attention at all to politics. Just do a text message thread amongst your group, your family thread, your kicking it click, whoever, and say, hey, have y'all voted yet? If not, there's an election tomorrow. These are the top 2-3 things on the ballot: the state Supreme Court race, the Department of Public Instruction race, that referendum. That referendum is going to pass. I already know it because of the way it's worded. And there are people that are like, well, what's wrong with requiring, ID or codifying that more in the Constitution? And because we know that there are many people that get impacted by not having the right ID in terms of voting and what's required. We know this. Anytime Republicans start talking about photo ID, tinkering with the Constitution around the issue of voting, it is never in the best interest of the Black community. Never. There is no rampant voter fraud in Wisconsin. There are no dead people voting. There are no lost ballots that somebody mischievously and intentionally tried to keep from being a part of the voting information. None of that's happening. None of that's happening. So you trying to address and fix a problem that does not exist. We already have photo ID requirements for when we go vote. We already jumped through a number of hoops and challenges. So anytime you see them tinkering and trying to get into the Constitution, amend it, do whatever, understand it never is something that's intended to help us. Ever. It's intended to create an additional barrier, another wall, another hurdle for us to jump over to be able to exercise the right to vote in this country. Just please be smart about that. The other thing I will say real quick is that I have been watching social media and, because now it's becoming evident to a lot of people that while I thought a lot of the Trump administration and Project 2025, that their work was going to hurt them, hurt the Latinos, Hispanics, hurt the Blacks, hurt, the immigrants, illegal immigrants. In some cases, people that legally are here, now you can be kicked out of the country because you said something that these people didn't like. And people can lie on you instantly and say, oh, this is a national security threat. You a lie. But these Klansmen walking up and down these streets, they not a national security threat. Because it's good people on both sides. It's good tiki torch holders. Talking about Jews will not replace us. It's good tiki torch holders. But because all these other groups are now beginning to feel the impact, now you got people looking around at Black folks talking about, well, we need to get together. We need to coalesce. And you got Black people be like, kiss my grits. Ain't about to happen. Because see, we tried to tell y'all and you didn't want to listen. When you thought it was just us, okay. White women who overwhelmingly keep going into the polls and signing or checking the box for Trump. And this man is doing stuff every day to mess up your opportunities, your life, and your daughter's lives. Every day. Every day. Because white women act like they didn't benefit from DEI because you were underrepresented in managerial roles and underpaid in the workforce for doing the exact same job of your male counterparts. Because we know that women had to sue and fight and march and do many of the things that Black people have had to do in order to secure certain rights in this country. So an article comes out or a story comes out about the folks in the LGBTQ community and somebody talking about putting the protests back in Pride. And, Pride is the universally understood symbol of the LGBTQ community. Pride. Why? Because, but the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I want Black people to hear me on this. The LGBT community has now seen, and first of all, let me just say, according to data, nearly 10% of Americans identify now as LGBTQ+, okay? But corporations who have been partners with many of these LGBTQ+ organizations, in some cases 30 years or longer. You can see their corporate logos at the Pride Parade and down at the Pride Festival. These organizations are falling back. In this article that's referenced on CNN's website, they talk about how organizers of Pride Fest in certain cities, like California, Colorado, Florida, Missouri, New York, Ohio, Texas, that they've all seen corporate sponsors withdraw from this year's Pride celebration, which happens in June. It's always right before Juneteenth. And that if they're not pulling away completely, they're reducing what they were going to do by way of support, and they don't want their name mentioned on any of your materials. You understand what I'm saying? Companies that have had a 30-year relationship with the Pride community, with the LGBTQ plus community, and supported these Pride events, are saying, hey, Donald Trump is threatening contracts. Donald Trump is making business harder for us to do. Yeah, we can't be seen with you. We can't be seen with you because you're a niche group. You're a specialty group. You are not American mainstream. So if you're not white and heterosexual and a male, basically, it's not a whole lot we can do to jam with you right now. But we're going to throw you a few dollars because we do understand this is messed up. Black folks, NAACP, locally and nationally, Urban League, many of our organizations, y'all better be listening and figuring out additional funding streams, because your dinners for the $1,000 tables that typically are bought by corporation, y'all gonna see a whole bunch of empty tables this year. These people are not playing. And we not strategizing in the corner with how do we survive this 4 years. And I'm saying 4, but we know that this idiot and his co-conspirators are trying to figure out if he could do a 3rd term.
And what's so crazy about that is I was looking at the wording of the proposal, and the wording in the proposal is for anybody that's from now to the future. So any of the past presidents, you don't get a chance to be in the equation of the 3rd term. It's only from Trump.
Yeah, from him going forward. Right.
Which is,
so Barack Obama couldn't come back.
And that's why
and he know it.
That's why they
know what they
strategically
doing.
did that wording like that.
Yeah, because if Barack Obama came out of retirement
of course
and said, "Oh, we doing 3rd terms," then I'm at you, bruh.
Yeah.
He'll lose to Barack Obama.
He'll lose all day.
He'll lose to him.
Yeah.
Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, Michelle.
Hey, good morning, George. How you doing this morning?
Good. Welcome back.
Thank you, bro.
I hope your trip was fulfilling.
It was good.
Hey,
it was very good.
Michelle, I just got a quick question, and I'm going to hang up and listen on the line if you don't mind, because this is really bothering me. That how is it illegal if a person waiting in line, food and water, but you can come and you can give a person $100 or $1 million? How is that not illegal? And I'm gonna hang up and listen off of Michelle. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So, as many of you know, while I was away, Judge Crawford, who is the Attorney General for the state of Wisconsin, filed a lawsuit that was intended to address this whole issue about Elon Musk being able to come in and give money to basically turn out the vote. Now, they couched it under, it's a petition. And as I said, Elon backpedaled on giving you 100, you 100, you 100, to now I'm just going to give $1 million. But so Judge Crawford files an emergency lawsuit to try to, stay and block Elon Musk from being able to do this. The Wisconsin State Supreme Court refused to take it up, and they didn't provide a reason for why they wouldn't take it up. Didn't take it up. So the way our laws are written, there are tons of loopholes. There are, workarounds. I think people understand that when they actually put them together sometimes, that I can backdoor whatever the intent of the bill is by doing this. But an appellate court, and that's what I should have said, an appellate court denied the state's attorney general the ability to stop this from happening 2 days before this election, this election tomorrow. And the Wisconsin Court of Appeals is the one who denied. Okay. So I didn't understand why they at least didn't give a reason, because they know a lot of people are paying attention to this. But I need to go back and look and see, because they said he was still trying to offer the $100 to anyone that would sign the petition. He's done it before, though. This is not new. He's done it in other states. He's done it here in Wisconsin during the 2020 presidential election. A man in Green Bay got $1 million from him for, signing a petition of some mess. So that's how they're able to do it, because they figure out the loophole in the law, the workaround that they can get away with it, basically. And when Republicans control the legislature, when Republicans, like down in Georgia, had a trifecta, they controlled it all, you can get those things done. You can get it done. That's why we're seeing what's happening at the national level, the federal level happening, because they have a trifecta on all three branches of government, from the courts to the Congress, legislative, purse strings, to the executive branch. They got control on all of it.
Thank you for calling 60 questions and comments.
And people keep hearing that word, right, that Republicans have basically abdicated their responsibility to do their job. So I wish I had a more glamorous, response, but it pretty much can be summed up in, they're going to do whatever benefits them, even when it's openly hypocritical. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning, Michelle. This is Angela.
Good morning, Angela.
I'm so glad you're back. I missed you.
Thank you. Can you turn your radio down for me, please?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Okay. So anyway, I'm not, too deep on the Republicans and all that old stuff, but I don't appreciate the way he's doing the hard working our people that don't work all their life, and including my mother, may she rest in peace. But even if my mother was here, I just cannot stand the way he doing our people that don't work all their life to get what they got today, and he want to take it away from them. That getting their Social Security or whatever they got coming. You know what I'm saying? That stuff ain't cool. And they got people like us that's backing him that just really gets under my skin, make me want to punch him in the face.
But we're not gonna do that.
I know we're not. It's just a metaphor. No,
I know. I got you. I used it myself. I understand.
Yeah, I'm just not gonna do it. But it just hurts my heart to just see, our people that think this man is okay with what he's doing.
Right, and
and it's not.
And even in cases, and thank you, Angela, for the call. I appreciate it. Even in cases where it's not that they don't think that, I don't think that, some of these black folks that push Donald Trump mania is all on board with everything that he's doing, but they getting something out the deal. They benefit. I get to be the shiny Negro in the room. I get to be the contract consultant who gets paid, to go in and rally the black troops. I get to have a seat at the fake table, because you ain't at the real table, because it ain't no black people but one in his administration, and then there are no black advisors closely connected that we can speak to. But I get to do that. And yes, I believe in, bootstraps, and I believe in, merit-based this and that and that. I believe that. Yeah, that's what's going on. That's exactly what's going on. But it's not benefiting everybody. And again, Angela talked about the present. Social Security under attack, Medicaid expansion and programs under attack, starving, countries. You got an idiot running Health and Human Services who they just gave an ultimatum to the guy, one of the leading officials there, retire or be resign. Resign or be fired. But yet the measles is on an uptick in this country. And just like with COVID-19, what happens in one country could easily and rapidly spread to others around the world. So stuff that we've cured and we haven't seen overwhelming numbers of deaths from in years is now back in play because you got idiots running these offices. Let me take a break. I'll be right back.
Real with your host, Michelle Bryant on WNOV.
All right, family, welcome back to the show. Taking a little bit of time this morning. I know it must sound crazy on the listening end, but if you have not figured it out yet, I am completely and totally frustrated and in some cases disgusted with some of the things that we see happening around us. Previous caller, was like, Michelle, how is it illegal to give away water to people standing in line for 2, 3, 4 hours in hot Georgia sun? But this man can blow into Wisconsin and give away millions of dollars, and nobody have anything to say. And again, State AG, Attorney General Josh Call tried to do something. The appellate court wouldn't take it up, didn't, intervene. And so this is where we are. They have found loopholes by saying, hey, this is connected to a petition, but we know all that's intended to drive voter turnout. So it is imperative that we are reaching out and doing our part, because tomorrow can become a game changer. There are national implications for this race. For Black folks, representation in Congress is critical. And so right now, of 8 congressional seats, the way Republicans had gerrymandered these districts and unfairly drawn these districts, you got 6 Republicans in Congress and 2 Democrats in Congress in terms of those House seats and the way this stuff leans. So we got to understand that, our voices are intentionally being excluded and people are cheating to be able to. And that's the thing I think that just drives me the craziest, because Republicans is always talking about fraud, 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 while they find that thin line that allows them to skirt the laws, or in some cases, blatant hypocrisy. You're doing this stuff every day. And I heard what Angela said. I don't really get into Republican versus Democrat. I respect that and appreciate that. It's okay to be an independent. It's okay not to be connected to anything. But tell the truth and shame the devil when you look at overtly, most frequently, who is coming for our community. And they got an R behind their name, period. So I can't ride with you on the DPI choice and act like you're not doing everything you can to hurt our community otherwise. I can't. And then again, what I say about endorsements, people get on my nerves with endorsements because you endorsing people you do not know. You don't know these people. You don't know them. You don't have no personal relationship with them. I can't vouch for you. All I can go by is what you told me. We all found that lesson out with Brett Blamey, the guy who ran for judge, and then you sitting up here watching kitty porn on your damn computer. But on paper, and what you told me, you the man. And all kind of high profile names, some of whom some of y'all love, was behind Brett Blamey. You're a damn child pedophile. So this laundry list of Black men and one Black woman who puts their faces behind Brittany Kinzer, you don't know that woman for real, for real? And you look around and see all of these people getting behind her to push her campaign, and you don't wonder why? Why are all these Republicans at the table to support Brittany Kinzer? You don't wonder why? But your dollar's going to be okay. You're going to get money for your school. One of the things that was said during the break, one of the commercials I heard, and they talked about, or it was like a news update, Donald Trump issuing an executive order to basically bust up federal unions. Like, again, except for the groups that tend to lean more conservative, usually like law enforcement, first responders. But that's what you're doing. That's what we put you in office for. That's why people should be voting for you, to dismantle worker unions. Y'all, elections have consequences. And many of us I just ordered eggs or went to the store and bought eggs the other day. And them damn eggs, I'm sorry, I did this Saturday morning. And them eggs was almost $6 for an 18 count. So the mess that y'all was crying and whining about before we went into the November election, a lot of that's still happening and going on while he is picking wars with everybody around the world. And I'm going to just tell you real quick, and I got to take this call because I understand we may have Judge Crawford on the line, is that when he's talking about a third term, I'm just trying to figure out, if we're in a war and there's a crisis, can we still hold a national election?
Nope.
I'm researching that right now.
I don't think you could, because that's what's happening.
Some countries won't. That's why Netanyahu keeps all this foolishness going on in Israel.
Yeah.
You know, because you're trying to run from removal from office.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I said it a minute ago. I'm going to say it again. And if we got her, let's bring her up. Elections have consequences, y'all. In some cases, national implications. But for sure, it can impact our everyday life at a very small nuclear immediate level. Let me see if we got Judge Susan Crawford on the line. Judge Crawford, are you with us?
I am here, Michelle. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How you doing this morning, the day before the election?
Yeah, I am feeling good.
So, Judge Crawford, I was taking time to just kind of talk about the national attention that this race is getting. I mean, I couldn't go anywhere when I was on the college tour I was on this week. Not one single state that I stepped in. When we said we were from Wisconsin, people are like, oh my God, what's happening with the Supreme Court race in Wisconsin? What have you seen, heard, people that have reached out to you about this race in terms of a national spotlight?
Yeah, well, Michelle, I have been
has done to try to ban or dismantle federal workers unions. Like, what are the things that you are talking about out on the campaign trail, and what do you need people to understand is the difference between you and your opponent?
Yeah, well, you know, people raise a lot of concerns with me about things that they're worried about, and that certainly includes things like reproductive freedom for women. People want to be able to make their own healthcare decisions, and they want to be able to get their healthcare in the state of Wisconsin. You know, I've talked to women who, during the period, because there was a period of time after the Dobbs decision, which is what overturned Roe versus Wade, when doctors weren't sure if that 1849 law was in effect or not. That's that statewide abortion ban that is it's now on hold while the Supreme Court takes a look at it and decides if it's still a valid law in Wisconsin. But I heard from women who were like, I had to leave the state of Wisconsin, and from doctors too, saying I had to send my patient out of the state of Wisconsin to get the health care she needed. And these were not, these were situations where women were having a crisis in a wanted pregnancy where something had gone terribly wrong. And that is horrifying to think about, but you've got my opponent, Brad Schimmel, saying he thinks that there's nothing wrong with that 1849 law. He believes it's valid and has said that, he thinks it should be in effect. So that's one really good example of what the consequences could be of this election. Those are literally life and death issues for women in Wisconsin.
So let me ask you this. I had a caller right before you were able to join us who said, Michelle, how is it that people can outlaw giving water to voters standing in a 2 to 4 hour line in the heat in Georgia, but Elon Musk can throw around millions of dollars in the state of Wisconsin? And we know no matter how you attempt to veil it, that it is about driving voter turnout in this election. Yeah. Now that I have a judge on the call, what should I have said to this listener who expressed this frustration?
Yeah, well, I think it's outrageous, Michelle, that he has come in and done that. And I agree with your listener and you that he was doing that to try to gin up votes for Brad Schimmel. And, let's not distract ourselves here. Brad Schimmel welcomed that. And he's the one who got Elon Musk interested in this race to begin with. He swears up and down like, oh, I don't know what, Musk is doing, and I haven't talked to him and all that. Well, he did talk to him. He had a live stream conversation with Elon Musk, and he knows exactly what he's doing, and he refuses to condemn it. Like he enjoys, I think, and appreciates the support. So this is what Brad Schimmel is up to. And he said right from the time he launched this campaign that he was going to nationalize the race and bring in some of the connections with the deep pocket conservatives that he'd made when he was a Republican attorney general in Wisconsin. So this is it. It's intentional on his part to bring in somebody like Elon Musk. And Elon Musk only knows one way of getting people to do stuff, and that's by paying them off. So that's how he thinks he's going to win this.
Speaking of those outside influences and folks paying attention, I saw that recently former President Barack Obama had actually endorsed you in this race. Can you talk about that for just a second?
Yeah, well, what I appreciated about President Obama's statements is that he was putting it to the voters, just saying, pay attention, get out and vote in this election. This is really, really important. And, I hope that reached some voters who were maybe sitting on the fence or didn't know what was happening in their state, because this is a critical election. It's going to have significant impacts on all Wisconsin residents, and people need to not sit this one out. It's really important for people to vote.
Well, I tell you what, I know that I have worked on campaigns, been in this final stretch, and I know that you are being pulled on 100 different ways. So I just want to tell you, obviously do what you need to do to take care of yourself over the next 48 hours. I certainly hope we get a chance to catch up with you tomorrow. And I'm just going to be, very direct in my support and saying good luck to you in this race. And it's not really about you, unfortunately. It is about, what's best for our state, what's best for the listeners to this station and our community. You getting in is the difference between potentially, fair representation and women having a voice and being heard in terms of reproductive freedom and rights that are now, something that was available to me a couple of years ago is no longer available to me as an option. So I just want to tell you that there are a lot of people that are pulling for you, and we are going to do what we can to make sure that we are driving people to the polls, and continue to do, this is it. Continue to do the work up until 7:59.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I appreciate that, Michelle, and thanks to you. Thanks to you for using your voice to encourage people to get out and vote in this really, really important election. It just is, like I said, it's not one that people should be sitting out. People need to exercise their rights to make their voices heard in this election.
All right. Thank you, Judge Crawford, for your time this morning. All right, family. So I got to take a quick break. Be right back. Michelle Bryant, WNOV, 860 AM, 106.5 FM.
Bryant on WNOV.
All right, family, welcome back to the show. So let me just say this. First of all, I appreciate Judge Crawford taking a moment to speak with us this morning. And I have to kind of laugh. So someone sent me a text message, my favorite, pain in the behind. And they text message said, seriously, are you seriously asking such a ridiculous question? Can we have elections while we are at war? How long did the Afghan war last? So, of course, that was my voice doing what I believe they sound like. So, yes, while I understand that we have had ongoing wars and that the way our Constitution is set up, that the presidential elections happen regardless. They're supposed to happen regardless. But so here's the thing I would just put out there for people. Number one, we see things that are in the Constitution that are being challenged every day. And people trying to figure out a workaround. And people trying to go in and do it and ask for forgiveness later. We've seen that. We've seen the January 6th rioters tear up the U.S. Capitol. And now they're talking about reparations for these people who went and crapped on the floors, broke out windows, tore up the damn building and scared the bejesus out of everybody. But now they need some compensation because they shouldn't have went to jail. They shouldn't have been inconvenienced. So let me tell you something. While I understand what the Constitution says, I also understand what people are capable of. And I understand that we have a judicial branch that right now has been coddling Donald Trump. I don't trust Clarence Thomas as far as I can throw him or any of the other conservatives on the court. So no, I'm not stupid. I know that technically we're supposed to be able to, still hold a presidential election in war, even though, let me just say this too. Even that is problematic because, see, we've been at war when it was happening on somebody else's soil, except for the Civil War, American Revolution. And if we were actually at war and America was being bombed and towed up, it would be interesting to figure out how to fully execute that war. Because it's different when you talk about 13 colonies or a few states versus 50 and our U.S. territories. So I'm not stupid, but I'm also not naive about what these people are capable of. If Donald Trump's ignorant behind is floating the idea of a third term, you better believe it's already being discussed. They are already looking at every legal avenue by which to get that done. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's already in play. Yeah, it's just crazy how he's playing like, it's something that's not been discussed, but quietly they're already working on the plan. They just waiting to reveal it.
Because he can't keep his mouth shut. He gonna tell on himself every time. And so while, I'm just throwing out possibilities, understand that this is a real conversation that we should not be ignoring. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Oh, yes. Good morning, Miss Michelle Bryant.
Good morning, JT. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. I'm doing very well. And thanks to you and everybody there at the studio, I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
I'm good, sir. Thank you for asking.
You're welcome. I just want to say congratulations on you and Dr. Lakeisha Myers for doing such an excellent job taking our young kids for a week to visit these different schools.
Yes, sir. Gotta get them out there.
I can understand it could have been very exhausting, but thank God that you have the strength to keep on.
Thank you, JT.
And good morning to Mr. Devo.
He's
good morning.
Somewhere over here.
Okay. Hey, I want to say good morning to JT Jr.
Yes, sir. Respectfully.
AKA Jermaine Wright.
That's right.
Right out, right? Did I get it right this time, Jermaine?
AKA Macaroni Made of Soap. That's it. That's
you're not going to forget that, are you? But Jermaine, I just want to say, my son, I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
And everybody know, and Michelle, everybody know that Jermaine is so good looking, you can't tell if he's coming or going.
Hey, you better believe it, Jack. You understand me? Talk your talk, Charlie. Talk your talk, Charlie. You understand me? Yeah. I mean, that means that I'm fine on both sides. You understand me?
There you go.
Yeah, talk your talk, Charlie.
Hey, Michelle, I just want to quickly say, as far as our state DOJ, You know, he knew how much time it would take to file a lawsuit against Elon Musk. Seems like he always wait to the last minute to do something. Now he knew. I think. Now this is just me speaking, but I think that he knew that the court was going to be able to take that lawsuit up within 3 days of the vote. I'm just saying, that's just me. But it seems like he has to wait to the last minute to do something like that. He needs to stop it. He just needs to stop it. And about Donald Trump want to run for a third term, you talking about a civil war? Come on now. Hey, I'm just saying, keep your eyes open and let's do our thing tomorrow. Listen, audience, let's do our thing and show them.
All right, JT.
No matter how much money comes into our community,
all right,
we're on a fight. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, JT. I'm up against the clock, but I definitely appreciate those words. And let me just say, I got a text message again from my favorite person who's like, Michelle, you're asking dumb questions. And he said, so fearmonger than actual facts. Didn't they say the same lie in 2016? But you know what? You'll never hit me up on none of the stuff I say that the Trump administration is doing that's harming the black community. And you'll never have nothing to say about that. Typical. You'll never have nothing to say about that, Negro. So don't be hitting me up about whether or not he can stand a third term, but you didn't hit me up about the Smithsonian. You didn't hit me up about DEI. You didn't hit me up about how we're being harmed. Don't come and talk to me about the general stuff and be unwilling to address the things that specifically are harming us as well. Y'all kill me. You're going to justify it every time.
Michelle, I see a comment here that I, if you will allow me, I'd like to respond to.
Yes.
Happiness Donor says, did you hear the Brittany Kinzer commercial using Debo's voice on the station? Think of how many people that listen to the Blues Cafe are going to vote for her because they heard Debo's voice. Well, let me publicly say that I in no way am endorsing any candidate. It's business. They sent the spot. It needed to be voiced. Nobody else to do it. I get it that my voice is quite identifiable. Don't deny that. But I do not endorse any candidate. Just because you hear my voice don't mean that's how I'm going to roll.
And I'm just telling people, on a lot of political commercials, people ought to have to send their own commercial. Because in that way, you get rid of the ambiguity about whether or not a radio personality is endorsing a candidate. Because we know that we've had other, people that have had to endorse read a commercial, and then later people in the community are like, what's up with that fam? So, what I tell a lot of candidates is send your own canned commercial. It's the same voice, it's consistent from station to station, or whatever voice you need to appeal to that particular listening audience. But when you have your personalities that have to voice these commercials, it does create, unfortunately, that kind of misunderstanding. So I'm glad you took a moment to clear that up.
Thank you for the time.
All right, folks, that's the show for the day. Appreciate everybody that called in, texted. I do. And dude, stop texting me. I'm sick of you. All right, peace, y'all.